Welcome to STRI Virtual Research Days. Today I'm here with Agrovista Amenity.
And my name's Joe Kinder and I'm part of the product development team at Agrovista Amenity.
Good morning, I'm Johnny Beck. I'm also Agrovista Product Amenity team.
And we're looking at a brand new active ingredient into the UK amenity market from world leading chemical company BASF.
So Joe, what trials are you running with us here at STRI this year?
Well Matt, we're looking at using a Traxor, which is our brand new PGR and growth regulator. We're looking at using it in combinations with Prima Max 2, an already established PGR product, and also E2 Pro Instant and also Go Green Select.
So you mentioned Go Green Select there and E2 Pro Instant. Why have you included those in the trial?
Well, we've included Go Green Select as it will give us a very good colour response. It's a tank mixable iron. We've also included E2 Pro Instant, which is an ammonium sulfate based product, which will also help to buffer the solution in the tank as well.
And how do you think those products will interact with both the Traxor and Primo Max?
I think it's always important. I think it's generally recognised anyway that you should mix a certain amount of nitrogen with the products, with the PGR type products, and both those products together will give you about 3.5 kilos a hectare of nitrogen. The other benefit of using E2 Pro Instant is that it will also help to activate the Traxor product as well.
So is it the calcium element in that that interacts with the Traxor?
Yeah, essentially it helps to activate the active ingredient, the perhexadiene calcium, much more quickly by buffering this pH solution down within the tank.
And what are you hoping to gain from these trials?
Well, obviously we're trying to enhance turf quality and performance, Matt, but not only in terms of suppression of plant growth, but we also want to see improvement in colour, improvement in uniformity between the species at present, and naturally we'd want to see a reduction in annual meadowgrass seed heads as well. So it's really turf health, performance and improvements in those areas.
Yeah, so it's not just looking at the turf colour, you want to really improve performances, so when they're used in real world scenarios, golf balls, footballs on them, you're really seeing those benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. We all know what we're trying to achieve with the PGR, but we want to try and see all those other benefits as well in terms of turf colour, uniformity, seed head suppression, density of growth, all these attributes that you'd associate with using a PGR, but enhancing them within a tank mix formulation. And now over to Johnny Beck on the sports.
So Johnny, can you tell me a bit more about both Primo Max 2 and Traxor?
Primo Max 2, its action relies on an enzyme activating in the plant so the Primo Max can start to do its job, whereas a Traxor is supplied as prohexadione calcium, and it's hydrogen ions in the spray solution which take the calcium off the prohexadione, and that's how the product starts its work in the plant.
And what kind of turf responses would you expect to see from these products?
We would expect to see a quicker response from the Traxor because it's not reliant so much on a temperature enzymic reaction. It's actually activated in the spray tank, so we would expect to see a Traxor working within 4 hours of application, whereas with Trinaxopac it may take 3 or 4 days for plant growth regulatory effects to start working.
Would you expect to see any colour responses within the plant?
We normally see colour responses when there is a reduction of the overall growth in the plant, so we're concentrating pigments within the plant. So normally you'll see a shorter, darker, denser turf at a point in the future after application with both products.
So Johnny, what makes these PGR trials different from previous ones that we've done?
What we've done here is an industry first in the amenity market. We have mixed 2 growth regulators with different and complementary modes of action, and we are expecting to see some very good positive turf responses in sports turfs.
Do you anticipate that being from both a colour point of view and a performance point of view?
We would expect positive improvements from colour, performance, the surface of the turf and the associated benefits with extra colour. And now over to Joe.
Cheers, Johnny. These trials coincide with the amenity weather system developed by Agrovista Amenity. To learn more about the Kinder-Parry model, it's over to Karl Parry.
Thanks, Joe. I have the great pleasure to introduce to you the Kinder-Parry model from Agrovista Amenity. Through years of research and developing our own amenity weather system from the ground up, we were able to look at data in a totally different way, leading to the creation of a new model for plant growth regulators. Traditionally, when we use plant growth regulators, growing degree days are used to calculate when applications should be made. However, we encounter complexity when using growing degree days with various models being used, such as a 0 degree model, a 6 degree model, and in some cases a 10 degree model. But before we look at when reapplications need to be applied throughout the season, knowing when the season starts and when the first application should be made is one of, if not the most important piece of the puzzle, for optimising the use of any plant growth regulator and preventing POA pioneering. Just like the various base models that are used, the start date for when accumulation of growing degree days is also just as confusing. Some start counting growing degree days from the 1st of January, while others start in April. This creates further confusion knowing when the first application should be made. Some also use historical data, which has no relation to the current weather and conditions. This got us thinking, there must be an easier, better and more accurate way. The Kinder-Parry model shows you when to start and stop plant growth regulator applications based on your local active weather conditions. This alleviates the worry amongst turf managers from applying plant growth regulators either too early or too late in the season, potentially inhibiting turf growth and performance and reducing POA pioneering effects. So, instead of using just the one growth degree day calculation, the Kinder-Parry model uses 5 key weather data sources with custom developed algorithms, ensuring that the start and stop timings are accurate no matter where you are or what PGR you may be using. So if you're using Primo Max 2, we can show you when applications should start and stop, and we recommend you follow the Syngenta Greencast GDD calculator for ongoing applications. The Kinder-Parry model also informs the Traxor users when to start and stop applications, but with reapplications being made every 21 days. Our ultimate aim from this STRI trial is to simplify and optimise applications of plant growth regulators with an industry-first tank mix package containing both a Traxor and Primo Max 2. More information about how to sign up and use the Kinder-Parry model will be available soon.
So as we discussed earlier, this is one of the trials that we're doing with Agrovista Amenity. This trial's looking on golf turf. Some of the assessments we're doing here are turf colour, turf quality, NDVI, phytotoxicity, heights and fresh weights, annual meadowgrass content and seed head suppression. So the reason we're doing that is we're not just looking at the kind of reduction in clipping yield that you'd get in these trials, we're also looking at some of those performance and visual aspects that you might expect from some of these combination of products. So here at the trial we're going to see a few different things. As with our research days normally, you very much get a snapshot of a trial. This trial here was at roughly 6 days ago, so we're seeing some nice differences at this point. Here we have an untreated plot, which is holding its colour quite nicely following the good weather we've had recently here in Bingley. But then in front of you here you've got E2 Pro Instant and Go Green Select, both at 20 litres a hectare on their own with no plant growth regulator. So we'll probably see an increase in yield in these plots as they're getting some of the nutrients they need. And you can see a nice green in colour there, which you may think it's the iron that's bringing that green up. But if you follow me back here, we have 2 plots here that both have Primo Max and a Traxor. And you can see in comparison to the E2 Pro Instant plot with Go Green Select, it is a darker green colour, so you get that kind of benefit from plant growth regulators as well. And another thing we're looking at is these products in combination at different rates. So you've got a Traxor at 375 grams a hectare and 650 grams a hectare, as well as Primo at 0.4 litres a hectare. So it'll be interesting to see whether, as you go up in the Traxor, what kind of additional benefit is that giving you, or is there kind of a plateau effect where when you're using these products in combination, you get to a certain point where you'll no longer see any benefits. So it'll be interesting to see how this trial goes as we develop through the coming months. So this is the football trial here. We're looking at pretty much the same sort of things. However, in these trials, you can use Primo at a higher rate. So we're using Primo at 0.8 litres a hectare and 1.6 litres a hectare. So we'll see how some of those differences work in football as well. And as you can kind of see here, your POA is a lot more suppressed in its growth height. So if you've got more POA with the ryegrass in dense patches, you'll see more height differences. Again, that may affect the fresh weights, so it'll be interesting to see how these trials go and the kind of differences we pick out as we go along in the coming months.
Please join us this Thursday for a question and answer webinar.